Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we ready to go? Yep.
good evening, everybody. This is our first regular meeting for the term of this council. I'd like to welcome everyone here, and I'll call the meeting to order. Did I miss it, Jason?
What time is it?
Seven.
Oh, 7 o'clock on the dot.
Moved by Councillor McGinnis, seconded by Councillor Steve Featherstone, that this meeting be opened at 7 p.m. All in favor? Carried. Next, we have the adoption of the previous minutes.
Blacklist
Throw it
these
down,
guys. Yeah. Steve, start writing his last name.
Moved by Councillor Steve Featherstone, seconded by Councillor Donna Clark, that the minutes of the regular meeting held October the 11th, 2022, and the special meetings of council held November 16th, November 22nd, November 29th, and December 1st, 2022, be adopted as circulated. All in favor? Carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Okay, we'll go on to presentations and delegations, and we'll ask Pauline Carmichael from East Nipissing North Parry Sound Veterinary Services Committee. Hi, Pauline.
Hi, Mayor, Councilors, Bonfield. I thought I'd present myself so you know the person behind these letters that you received from me. I have been Calvin Township's rep on the veterinary committee since 1998. I've been secretary treasurer for the veterinary committee since 2001. And I've been a director on the PAN, 1 6-year stint quite a few years ago. And at present, I'm a director on the PAN into my second 2-year term. We're allowed to be on 6 years, and then we have to be off the director. So I have quite a bit of knowledge of this program. I presented the letter to you, and this is the letter. Should have been out earlier this year, but I think I was worn out fighting. So I brought it to you now. You can wait till the budget is passed for next year to pay this if you want. And I did receive your check for the 2 years prior in February. I want to let you know I did receive that. This program has been around since 1945. The provincial government at that time wanted to promote veterinarians to come up to northern areas, and they gave actually $1,800 to open mixed practice, so it could be small animals, but a priority for large animals. And Doc Smiley in 1949, he opened in this area. All the farmers got together, they went to their councils and said, we're interested in this program. And Doc Smiley was the guy that came in 1949. when he retired in 2004, we had to find a new vet for the area. And no vets will come into an area unless there's already a veterinary clinic there that they can work out of. No clinics in North Bay wanted a large animal vet in their practice. So we were 2 years without a vet, and then we wined and dined a few vets and they weren't interested. And Springer Animal Hospital, Dr. Sampson at that time, that if he took over our area also, that he could bring in more large animal vets into his practice. So we went with him, which was, as of course he had clinics set up. So we've been with him since then, 2006. Excuse me. So at this present time, Springer has 3 large animal vets, and I was talking to Olivia yesterday, and they just hired another large animal vet. She's on board in February, which will bring it up to 4 large animal vets, and they also do small animals. That's how they can afford to do large animals, because it's not lucrative, actually. The mileage, the equipment to do large animals is very, very expensive. I can field questions if you want. It might be easier from now on. You have any questions?
I don't. I'm on board with it. Like it's a good service for the area.
So the benefit is to the vet, but it's also to us. If we did not have this service, we would not have emergency veterinary care. A vet tech has to work through a large animal clinic. They can come to a farm and they can come and look at your animals, but they can't do any castrations. They can vaccinate, and only if the veterinarian that they work with has prescribed the proper medicine. They can't decide what medicines that you need. It's still the vet that has to do it. So, so with us being in this program, then we have full vet services, emergency and great health. Springer comes down into this area Tuesdays and Thursdays for regular herd health, and they'll come out every day that there's an emergency. We give them 1.5 contracts, because she will actually run through the $40,000 just to service our area. She has a contract through West Nipissing to service their area, and she has a half contract for West Sudbury, and she pops over to Manitoulin Island every now and then to service. So they're very, very busy, and they're willing to travel to service people.
Thanks. Do you have a question?
I
Yeah.
do. Thanks, Your Worship. Ms. Carmichael, I read in here that, or I understand through your presentation, we've made the payments to catch us up until this year.
Yes.
However, we continue to be, I mean, in arrears would be a bit of a difficult statement. I don't know that we've actually received,
Well, the
but
contract goes from April 1st to April 1st,
correct. So, but we have not paid the year that we're currently receiving services.
2022. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, perhaps we can entertain that in a future meeting as a consideration for that.
Steve, do you have anything to ask or anything?
I don't. I think a $400 fee is pretty minimal. You know, obviously this is taking care of like larger farms, right? This is taking care of.
No, anybody, you can have one horse and you're covered. You can have llama out back, you're covered.
Right.
You don't have to. This is one of the only programs that the government gives people that in the rural area, that you don't have to be registered farmer.
Right.
So anybody is covered with this, which is really, really good.
Donna, do you have any questions?
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent program.
Just a comment that I have spoken with a couple of farmers, and this is something that they want to see and support. And I believe this council will do the same thing. And we are looking at appointing one of our councillors to the board, to your board.
Yes, very good. So I need one from every township that's involved. So when you choose the representative, then you just, when you pass that motion, just send that motion on to me. I keep it in my records. And then he will get in the information that I send around. And then we have the annual meeting and any emergency meetings that we need during the year.
Okay. Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you. I am the wildlife damage investigator for your township also. So if any of you are interested in finding out anything about that program, I'm available. And I'm also the AgriCorps rep for our whole area. So if anybody wants to know about farm registration numbers, premise ID numbers, or crop insurance programs, I'm that person too.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Your worship, I wonder if we can just leave this in the hands of our deputy clerk to perhaps draft a motion and bring back for consideration next council meeting.
I think
with
we
respect
have
to-
it. We have the motion.
We have the motion.
To appoint a council member
Yeah.
to the board, but no, I will
For the
bring this
funding.
back to the next
Yeah, for the
council
funding.
meeting.
Okay,
Yep.
great, thank you.
Okay.
Your worship. Is this something we have to do every year? Can this not be like an automated bill per?
It usually is.
Okay.
When I receive Donna's letter, Pauline's letter, then it's automatically put through to disbursements.
Okay,
So
so
we don't have to pass a motion every year?
We,
It was just.
yeah, it's in the budget.
Stumbling of the
Yep.
last, okay.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, great. Okay, then never mind.
Okay.
Perhaps I misunderstood the process, given my history.
Vincent is not here.
Yes, right there.
Oh, okay.
I'm too small.
I didn't recognize the gray hair.
Oh, thank you.
At least
You're on a roll.
Sorry. Sorry, I'll put my glasses on.
There we go. I'm good. I don't know if it's, am I asked to go now?
Yep.
So evening, all council, I made myself notes. I'll probably won't read it through. I'm just terrible at reading through stuff, but I just want to say evening. Thank you very much to councillors and mayor and administration and the public at large for taking time to listen to me here in a couple of minutes. My name is Vincent Shank. I should do by introducing myself. I see a lot of new faces that I'm not familiar with. So I'm Vincent Shank. I've met these guys at the meet and greet the candidate, but that was quick and fast. I'm sure you shake a lot of hands. So I'm the president, owner, founder of VS Group. Started this in I started this in 1997, 25 years ago. So there's a gray hair in there. Plus 10 years before that, or a year before that, I worked for Revenue Canada as an auditor at CRA. I knocked on a lot of doors, made a lot of friends, believe it or not. I left in 97 and I started my own practice. The vision of VS Group was always in the concept of helping small, medium-sized business and organization in all aspects. And that's where you'll see through VS Group, we have 3 divisions called VS Marketing, VS Accounting, and VS Technology. Every business, every organization, those are the 3 core services you have is business, accounting, business development, marketing, and technology. So, and this is when I started this in 97. I've grown here in Bonfield. I'm been here, born in 1970, so you can do the math and figure out my age. Moved in 72 for 12 years in Verner on the dairy farm. My dad started in 82. We moved back here, so I went to school here. Kalare is my school. I have my name on a couple of plaques there if they did throw it out. Just for being a bad boy. Went to Algonquin, post-secondary Canada College in business administration, accounting. Continued to CG Ontario for account, and that's when I started working for Revenue Canada. And again, I did 8 years there, and then I started VS Group. Okay. Over the years, after about 5, 6 years after that, we started working with different municipalities in different capacity. And about 5 years ago, we started a whole division called VS Municipal Solution. And this is where I'm here tonight to present to you guys and offer you one of the services that I think could be grateful, they could be very helpful to the township of Bonfield. We've worked with Bonfield before. We worked with Mr. Johnson and on a couple of things. We dealt with budget, we dealt with a couple of things. We did a share study services for the township of Bonfield. It was a group of 10 different municipalities also around. Worked a little bit with Brian, not that much though. And then we learned that he left and that was about the extent of it. And I had approached at that time, Andrea, I mentioned a few times, I know she was short labor. I know there's some staff that are missing here, that we do have clerk services support. And one of the things specifically was a CEO that I think Bonfield needs, or CAO, to support this township and give guidance with it. One of the staff that I had shared documentation with you guys, you could read it at your own time at a later time if you want, or I could share and I'll give another copy for to Andrea to share with you guys. Her name is Holly Hayes. That I recommend as a subcontract services to retainer service for the township of Bonfield. She used to be the CEO in South Algonquin North, I believe they call. I think she was part originally of the group of 10 when we started the share study. She worked with the township. She worked with Barrie, the city of Barrie. She's highly qualified, educated, and experienced. And she joined my team last summer, and when this came about to Bonfield, I said, well, you'd be a perfect candidate to act. And I had sent a proposal, and what I recommended is retainer service as a subcontract services for potentially 4 days a week, 3 hours a day, from 9 to 12 every day to have some consistency, except on Fridays. And I think you'll do, if you do the math, you think there's some significant advantage for the township to do that. It could be a quick turnaround for you guys to bring somebody with experience. And again, I don't think the size of the township of Bonfield, like we did the share study, probably requires somebody at that level and at that competency on a 40 hours a week basis. When we did the share study, it shows that there's a major shortage of CEOs with qualified experience working within the municipality across the province. The proof is township of Bonfield, when Peter had announced that he wanted to leave and to find Brian. Before they found Brian, it took time and a lot of resources, energy to find that. Municipality, there's tons of report out there to say they're warning people. There's a lot of older CEOs of municipality that are about to retire, and succession is going to be a problem. So when we did the share study, they told us that a lot of small municipalities says, can we share a CEO and can we have that services available? And that's what it came out. And that's realistically, a lot of smaller municipalities are going to be eventually forced to do if they want to have somebody qualified experience to do that. That it makes sense with their budget also. So what I'm just presenting to you guys, I've sent you tons of documentation, is to seriously consider the option of retaining a part-time, or if you want not a full-time, but subcontracting of a CEO person to help running the township of Bonfield. And I think you can minimize costs, and I think you could help some situation that you're into right now. And at the end, I just wanted to leave some time open, just like the previous candidate I mentioned, for you guys to ask me any question you may have on that concept or on that basis.
Good. Any question?
Are you doing this with other municipalities right now? You're sharing
As a CEO,
as a CAO?
full-time, no. Are we currently working with other municipalities as a CEO to do some of their project they have, because their CEO has said, we have too much to do this project? Yes. So like I said, this is a concept that came into place to say a lot of small municipalities, you're not the only one who's have problem finding a qualified SEO. So that's not going to be part of the share study is why we determined to say, okay, well, that service is needed.
Where will Holly be traveling from?
She will be working remotely, except for the days that she needs to be in here. Like the reality is Peter was there 2 years before that, or 3, 4, 5 years, and he worked most of the time remotely from Gravenhurst.
Yeah, well, that's not a good situation.
No,
I
but
think we
we
need
have,
somebody here in the building.
okay, and if that's your choice, you can do it, if that's what you want to do, and if that's, like I said, it's an option, but you may have to come to term to find somebody qualified who wants to come to Montreal. You may have to look at alternatives. CEOs across like big organizations are doing that across the world right now. So technology is there, and that's just the reality. But again, if you could find and the downside or the other thing is you're gonna be forced with is Bonfield always gonna be used as a skipping stone, meaning somebody comes there, get a CEO, and then gets told by the municipality because now they have the title, and you're gonna flip around having somebody every 6 months, which is not healthy for a township. We can see that. So those are all pros and cons. You can debate among yourself and decide where you want to go. And so that's why I'm presenting.
Steve, do you have any comment?
Thanks for coming in and bringing that to our attention. It's, nice to know that that's available. I think with being a fairly new council, I think we kind of owe it to our residents to look at all avenues for CAO. My intent would be to bring somebody in full-time, have somebody available to the community. But obviously, if things are gonna go awry with that and we're gonna have a tough time, then we can kind of come back and revisit this option as well.
Okay, thanks, Vince. Just my comments on it. It gives you something to think about. However, I think the feeling is that we should have a CAO in this office, the full-time. And but again, that's council's decision. And but you have given us something to think about. I believe that there will be a motion come forward to hire a CAO. And I think the anticipation it would be a full-time CAO. And that's, I can't speak for council, but I think I would wish that we could have somebody with less time, but I think that has been in the past where we haven't had someone full-time in here and someone in the office at all times. And at the end of the day, I think that we lose what we could have by not having someone in here full-time. So that's just my feeling, but it's something to think about. And I thank you for giving us your presentation.
And I agree with that. Like, if you want somebody full-time or whatever, that's for sure, that would be somebody permanent here. This is an alternative to say you're stuck right now. You haven't had anybody for 6 months. You could have had somebody to help you out for the last 6 months with some experience. Like, I'm just looking at grants, fundings, different things that the township could have. If you see yourself like you can't find somebody else, like Dan had said, that option is there. And it doesn't have to be permanent. It could be until you find someone. But I thought I shared this. I mean, I live in Montreal and I know some of the stuff that happened. Okay.
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is canceled.
Yes.
Probably the next.
Postponed till next year.
Postpone until
Yes.
next year. It's a 25 service medal award. So we'll do that in January, our first meeting,
Yes.
probably. Now we have the minutes and reports from the municipal committees and board. I forgot to flip the page. There we go. And the first is planning. Does anyone have any questions about what the planning manager has given us with respect to the certificate?
Your worship, that will come later.
Hmm?
That will come later in the
Oh,
agenda.
okay, so
Yes.
we have nothing then from
No.
planning?
No, the only minutes you have for this meeting is from the library.
Okay, so we're gonna go right through here. All right,
Mrs. Mayor, in the past, due to the fact that there was no committee meetings of Public Works for the last several years, I would often give a little update to the public as to what was going on generally with our parks and recreation programming and such. I don't know if you wish to carry that forward in the next future of this council.
For Public Works,
Yes.
Yes. Since there was no meetings, Manager Carr would usually present or make a report to council. So would you like her to make a report for this meeting?
I would like her to make a report. Just a quick
Lesson like that, we
report.
didn't have Public Works Committee meetings at that time or for several years. So in the future, it'll be nice that we have minutes to add there instead of a verbal report. I just want to bring a few things to the public's attention that we've been working really hard with the skating rink. Our new weather barrier is actually working fantastic. The sun is not taking away the ice as we're making it. We actually probably have about 1.5 inches of ice already made. So we're very confident that we'll have that night open for all the kids to enjoy for the Christmas holidays. It's actually keeping the temperature inside the rink about 7 degrees less than the outside temperature because the sun's not in there. We're just finishing up working with FedNor and NOHFC. We're going to complete all of our invoicing and our final reporting, etc. So we do have a motion coming forward that we do have some extra cash that still remains in the funding opportunity because the Public Works Department did a lot of in-house work. So we were able to save some money and be able to spend it on other things that are particular to the funding. We brought in all of our gravel over the last few weeks. We've been reorganizing the landfill for winter operations. We try to make it a little easier to plow and keep care of it in there. And we have been moving the recycling regardless to what the motion may read out later this evening. We closed off our OTF grant for the curtains. That's all closed off and finalized. I don't know if anyone has paid attention to the news, but we did just receive another $100,320 in the OSIF funding that's given to us every year. It was just announced by Fideli's office. And that's about all I have for you. The winter has been kind, sort of ish, with all the rain we've been receiving this month.
There's any questions?
Thanks, Your Worship. So I know you talked about closing off the NOHFC and the FedNor granting applications that we were awarded. I know that we have another project coming up. Is there any outstanding projects left with the park or the paths? One of the concerns I've heard was some drainage issues on the pathways. I guess there might be some spots where the paths aren't draining and become pretty hard for people to navigate.
The pathways, there is nothing left there. They're not open during winter at all.
Right.
We're not maintaining that as a department. We close our parks on Thanksgiving. So that is, there's no ice to be slipped on. There is no.
Is there any signage up for that with that respect?
We usually close it with on the website. We also do that for our bicycle trails, which run along the sides of our roads, because the maintenance standards for bicycle paths is like 2 centimeters of snow, and there's no way that we're going to be able to accommodate that.
Mhm.
So we close that as well with so everything is closed. All the parks are closed on Thanksgiving.
So I think part of the concern, if I may, Your Worship,
Sure.
part of the concern comes from those shoulder seasons where once there's snow on the paths, obviously that is not maintained. But right now, or in the last couple of weeks, if there's been no snow on them, but there's ice, I think people are still actively utilizing them. So I don't know if there's something that we can do to put a sign, put some sort of a barrier to say paths are closed, anything like that, just to protect the public.
George, could we not just put a no winter, no winter
Outside.
maintenance from whatever date to whatever date at each end of the,
Right. So we did just we purchased some signage with our programming. So like, for instance, the playground is closed because the ground is frozen. So there's no protection for dropping off of the equipment. That's why there's sand underneath them and wood chips. And like I said, I can't remember where, but I'm sure it's in the minimum standards that as long as we announce that on the website. However, we could take more precaution and manage our risk by putting a sign, and we could do that.
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have a question. The 100,000, is that for next year? That was just given by Fidelity?
Yes, so we have been kind of stashing it away. We did, I know you probably have lots of questions. This year I took over the OSIP reporting because it pertains to my department mostly. So this year we're doing a road needs study with Golder. It's $14,000. We're just finalizing those, the study itself. So it was identified in OSIP that we would use that fund because you can use that funds for asset management planning or your core infrastructure. 50,000 was also identified for the Talon Lake Road project that we worked on, and we did complete that project this fall to prevent sedimentation entering the Talon Lake area. It's a great concern to many of our residents there, as well as Parks Ontario, the Algonquins. We have quite a large committee, and now that we do have a new council, that allows us to have more involvement with somebody representing in that committee forum. So that was identified with OSA. The number off my head, how much is there? I can't give that to you right at this second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Should also mention that those funds are very specific to what they can be applied to.
Okay. So I skipped the library.
We don't have a council appointed at this time, so there'd be no report.
Okay,
Usually
but
the,
we don't have a report here. Okay.
no, usually the member who's appointed to sit on that committee, when that agenda item would come up, he would provide a report on the last meeting.
Okay.
There is.
And I see emergency management is on here. Do we have, does our emergency person come in for a report in our council meeting?
No,
as
that would
well?
be up to the mayor when we have a meeting.
Mhm.
You would report back to the members of council what
Okay.
happened. So you could say that there was a meeting last week just to make us
Some advanced changes to
Yes.
how we administer
Sorry.
the emergency management. plan.
I was looking for the proper wording for the make us not compatible, but
More user friendly.
no, what we have to do for this year
Oh, it's
to,
our compliance.
yes, there,
Okay.
to become compliant for this year.
Oh, yes.
And there is a meeting scheduled for Thursday, which is an exercise that also needs to happen to make us compliant for this year.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Sorry, Your Worship. I have a question. Is that the exercise is a staff exercise or?
It's members of the emergency control group, which includes some members of staff, the mayor. And there's also, depending on the exercise, there could be DSAB, the health unit.
Oh, it's not driven by us.
No,
Ah.
no.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, the reports of non-municipal committees and boards, again, we have no one, right?
No. So you do have a welcome letter from Phenom.
Oh, yes, there was a letter from Phenom. And do we just automatically become members of the Phenom board? Or
We pay a membership
we pay
fee.
it, but that's again, something that, is there a motion passed by council or do we just automatically, same as AMO? I see. the
Automatically,
AMO
we renew the
fees,
membership
we
every year.
automatically
Yes.
renew our membership.
Yes.
Okay.
And I
And,
believe for that one as well, there may be a rotation for members to sit on the Phenom board. But I will have to look into that one further and see if it's on a rotation basis, like some of the other boards, or if we can decide to just appoint somebody. So I will look into that and have something back to you for the next meeting.
Okay. And then we're appointing someone to the Conservation Authority. And the
Coun-
Castle Home, it's another municipality.
Castle Home is on a rotation, which is not us. North Bay Mattawa Conservation, Councillor Featherstone has been
Yeah.
appointed to that board. And then tonight, part of our agenda is to appoint a member, council member to sit on the Bonfield
Yeah.
Seniors Housing.
Okay.
There's a meeting tomorrow for the Conservation Authority.
Is there a meeting tomorrow?
Yeah.
So Councillor Featherstone will report back to us at our next
At
council
the
meeting.
next meeting. Okay. No notice of motion. And the introduction and consideration of bylaw. The first one is the lottery. Moved by Councillor Corbett, seconded by Councillor Clark. Whereas council deems it necessary and expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw respecting lotteries and the appointment of lottery licensing officers be read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2022-45, and that a bylaw 2016-22 be repealed in its entirety, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All in favor? The next 8.2 is a bylaw to appoint a committee of adjustments for 2023. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGuinness. Whereas council deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to constitute and appoint a committee of adjustment for the municipality be read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2022-46, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book, and that this bylaw be posted on the municipal website for public information purposes. All in favor? Carried.
So
Disbursement. Is there a motion?
yes,
Moved by Councillor Steve Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGuinness. The council approved the general accounts for the township of Bonfield as indicated in the disbursement report dated December 13th, 2022 in the amount of $959,275.32. This is from October, right?
Dates back to October 11th,
Dates
2022.
back to that date, so that explains the large amount.
Yes,
Plus the
All in
waterfront
favor?
plan.
yes.
Carried.
Just over to this. Just a moment.
Oh, do I have to fill that in?
Yes.
Okay, I guess they're moving it and I haven't filled it in yet.
That's okay. You can read it as you're going.
It'll be a surprise when I get there. Okay. I filled it in on my paper, but it's kind of messy, I think. Moved by Donna Clark, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that the chairs and vice chairs of the municipal committees and boards be appointed as follows. General Government and Finance Committee, Chair Neri Paquette, Vice Chair Jason Corbett. Planning Advisory Committee, Jason Corbett, Vice Chair Neri Paquette. Public Works Committee, Dan McGinnis, Vice Chair Jason Corbett. Fire Department, Steve Featherstone, Vice Chair Donna Clark. Recreation Committee, Steve Featherstone, Vice Chair Dan McGinnis. All in favor?
The library shouldn't be included in this.
No,
It's a separate one.
yes.
I just want to say a great deal of thought went in appointing the committees and coming to know the council members over the past month and a little over a month. And in making these appointments, I believe that these are the members that will be very interested in their committees and I'm sure they'll do a very good job. And I looked at the public appointees and going over that, I'm sure that they will have some good committees this term.
Did you call the vote? Yeah.
Did I? What did I forget? to
All in
do?
Call the vote.
All in favor?
All in favor?
What's it called?
You didn't call the vote.
Oh. I get it. Okay, after reading that, I won't read it again. All in favor? Thank goodness. I'll remember this time. Moved by Steve Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGinnis, that the following council members be appointed to sit on municipal boards. Library Board, 1 member of council, Donna Clark. Remaining members, 4, will be made from the public applications. Police Services Board, 1 member of council would be Neri Paquette. Remaining members are made up from 1 public application and 1 provincial application. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Steve Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGinnis, that the following council members be appointed to sit on the other committees, boards, and commissions. Nipissing Perry Sound Veterinary Unit, 1 member of council, Dan McGinnis. Bonfield Nonprofit Seniors Housing, 1 member of council, Donna Clark. All in favor? Carried. I use this one.
Yes,
No.
just get
Sorry,
them to,
can you sign that one? That'll save me writing all it over again. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Corbett. Whereas council has advertised for citizen appointments to various boards and committees for the term of council, be it hereby resolved that the following applicants be appointed to the boards and committees as follows. The Library Board, Gail Johnson. Number 2, Leslie LeBrock, Storm Van Russell, and Brittany. And I didn't get Brittany's last name off
I
here.
believe it's Morin. Morin,
M-O-R-I-N.
M-O,
M-O-R-I-N.
Planning Advisory Committee, there's 3 members, and it's Eric Foisey, Gina Langua, and Camille Robolewski.
I believe so.
Yeah. And the Police Services Board, Mark Boncourt. We had 2 applicants, and 1 applicant is Andrea is going to help her to submit her application as a provincial appointee. They've asked us to submit someone that we were interested in. And also the 1 appointee for the provincial appointees, a very interesting resume for maybe a committee in the very near future that Donna is hoping to set up. So, and then the Recreation Committee, we have Lisa Lard, Mark Bancourt, Natalie
Bertie.
Burton. All in favor? Carried. Now, where did my minutes go? Where's my agenda? Sorry. Thank you. It's in here. Okay, the information with respect to the Roma conference, is that where the counselors have to decide now about the Roma conference?
The registration has opened, I believe early bird has probably ended. But this one is in January, so they basically have to, tonight would be the best time to decide if they want to go. We can put everybody's name on the motion and then they can confirm with me by the end of the week if they really want to go or not. And then we'll only register those that want to attend.
Okay,
Okay?
everybody okay with that?
Mhm.
And then if you're not going,
I'd recommend I'd recommend as a new council with lots of learning opportunities ahead of us, we should probably do the same for all of the different conferences that are coming up. I don't think all of us will be attending all of the conferences. I know I won't, that's for sure. But to be able to have the opportunity that if you decide you want to go and it's a good learning opportunity to go attend that conference, just to have it open for council to be able to attend, I think would be helpful.
I also noticed that there's a lot of really salient information that's pertinent to our municipality that's coming up. That they have plenary sessions and concurrent sessions on them. I went through the program, so there's a lot of things that concern us. That'd be helpful.
so I'm going to add everyone here
Yeah, just
to the
Just
Roma,
put all members of
all
council.
members.
Do you usually attend Roma? No? Okay.
Well, I did when I was with Good Roads. So I don't really know who was putting on what sessions, to be honest.
Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGuinness, that all members of a council be approved to attend the 2023 Roma Conference in Toronto, January 22nd to the 24th, 2023, and that expenses be paid accordingly. All in favor? But we don't be registered, we're not registered or anything. This is only for council purposes, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Do we register ourselves?
No, the township will register the members that want to attend. Okay.
now you can do that on
And as I get information, agendas, things like that from the different conferences, then I forward that to council. And the good roads, we need to add public work manager on there as well.
okay. Moved by Councillor McGuinness, seconded by Councillor Featherstone, that all members of council and Public Works Manager be approved to attend the 2023 Good Roads Conference in Toronto, April 16th to the 19th, 2023, and that expenses be paid accordingly. All in favor? Carry. That's late now that they have the conference, eh? In April, they used to have it in February.
It was because we would often have to leave early because of a snowstorm.
Roads.
Yeah.
Order for good roads.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you'd see everybody packing it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moved by Councillor Clark and seconded by Councillor Steve Featherstone, that all members of council and staff be approved to attend the 2003 Phenom Conference in Parry Sound, May the 8th to the 10th, 2023, and that expenses be paid accordingly. All in favor? Carried. I found the Phenom Conference more geared towards Northern Ontario because it's a
Yes.
federation of Northern Ontario.
Mhm.
But what they bring forward to us, it seems to affect us, the Northern Ontario more. Now, the next one is information only. That's the foundations in,
No, we still have AMO. You have one more for AMO?
yes. Oh, that one's enough. August.
Yes.
Okay.
Registration's open shortly, so
And that's things that, or that's a conference that the clerk could go to or Public Works as well.
yes.
There's a lot of
Um,
conversation with like our.
I'm
like
gonna put on
recycling,
staff.
that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, it affects our entire municipality, all departments.
Moved by Councillor Corbett, seconded by Councillor McGuinness, that all members of council and staff be approved to attend the 2023 AMO Conference in London, August 21st to 23rd, 2023, and that expenses be paid accordingly. All in
Can I
favor?
just make a recommendation? Because I think at that point, we'd be approving all municipal staff to attend. And,
Oh.
yeah,
So I better put CAO,
yes, yeah, CAO.
And Public Works Manager.
Manager.
clerk.
Yeah.
And
Public Works Manager.
Public Works. Did we put staff on another one?
We did not, no, staff doesn't usually, if it's in North Bay or in the area, one member of staff may go. It also depends on what's on the agenda, but at this point, I don't see any staff member.
That was for
except
Roma.
for
Sometimes we
no,
would
that
sneak
for,
in like for one. session.
for Phenom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we would take turns, one would go in the morning and one would go in the
Okay.
afternoon session.
All right, and I added CAO, clerk, and Public Works Manager. All in favor? Carried. So the training is as the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing training, and as well, there's the other training. But we're not going to either one. Is that right?
The planning manager has recommended that all members of council register for foundations in planning for elected officials.
Is that the one on March 2nd?
Or April 18th. or May
Yeah, there's a
1st.
couple of dates.
Online.
Yeah,
So we,
It's
are
online.
we register or you?
no, we would register based
She
on the
already sent out
dates.
the email.
Yeah,
we
all- But we all answered, but there was no response. Like, I didn't see anything where she acknowledged it.
No, I didn't say anything either. I just.
Assumed,
Yeah.
yes, me too.
So we would have to all go the same date though, right?
I'm not sure by the sounds of it, they're all virtual.
There's March, April, May, October, November.
I think you just have to register for one session at whatever date is more convenient for you.
We'll pick a
Okay.
date.
Okay,
We're doing it March 2nd, Steve, Dan, and myself. I don't know what
I
date.
think I picked March 2nd as well, actually.
This is to do with planning, yeah?
Perfect, thank you.
Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor Clark, that the manager of planning and development register members of council for the foundations and planning for elected official training session offered through the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and that expenses be paid accordingly. All in favor? Carry. And just to comment on this with, we have the planning board, or the planning advisory committee, but at the end of the day, the planning advisory committee makes recommendations to council and council makes the final decision. So I believe that that's why our planning manager thinks that it's important that council attend the training.
As well as committee of adjustment
Mhm.
as council.
Now, the cancellation certificate, now we're at it for the planning board. Do we have to do anything with that?
No, you missed
Or
one. You missed
only
item- you missed
understand
item-
it?
Sorry, you missed item number 10.
Hmm.
Item number 10 on your agenda,
Oh,
the council training.
sorry.
That's okay.
You're making me hurry.
Yeah, Jason.
I skip about 5 on it.
To be fair, I said earlier, the last meeting was like 6 minutes long, so we got something to live up to.
Sorry, because that's an important one. Memo, Christmas holiday schedule and December 27th meeting cancellation, right?
No.
No.
Number 10.
Number 10, the
MMA.
MMAH training.
council
Yeah.
training.
Oh, we need a motion for that.
Yes,
I just read that.
no,
No.
that was another one. So like confirmation today on the date, because the motion stated January 2023, date to be determined. And the date has been determined to be February 4th, beginning at 10 a.m. And I believe it's in Mattawa. And it's being given by Brian Searle, who is our MMAH representative.
Okay.
Okay,
You said February 4th, sorry.
February 4th, yes. So I will need to find out
And is that,
exactly.
that's in Mattawa, right?
Yes,
Oh, it's a Saturday.
yes, it's a Saturday
And how
and it's
long?
about 5 to 6 hours.
Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGuinness, that members of council be registered for the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing Council training in Mattawa on February 4th, 2023, and that expenses be paid accordingly. All in favor? Carry.
So if you could let me know as soon as possible if who's available to attend, so I can let Mattawa know, and then they'll give us details of location and everything.
What was the date? February 4th.
Yes.
I'll let them know that.
I'll attend this one.
Okay, now, slow down. I'm back to the cancellation certificate, and that's information purposes only, right?
No,
No,
there is a
no.
motion to
Vote on
be
that.
passed. Would council like the planning manager to zoom in for questions right now, or?
I don't have any
I
question to
don't, I
you.
read it.
I read it, I have no questions, I'm fine with it.
No.
Everybody's fine?
Yeah.
Okay, you can let her know.
I did.
Okay.
She has her pajamas on.
Yeah. Still the worst topic.
Yes. that's it.
Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGuinness, Whereas Angela and Scott Kipp have requested a cancellation certificate for their property legally described as Lot 24, Concession 5, Part 1 on Plan 36R 13629, and Lot 24, Concession 5, Part 1 on Plan 36R 13629. And whereas the Manager of Planning and Development recommends to Council to issue the cancellation certificate, be it resolved that Council approves of this recommendation and that subsection 53 and 5 of the Planning Act shall apply and be cited on the certificate of cancellation when endorsed by the township. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that the Christmas hours for the municipal office staff be accepted as submitted and posted on the website and the municipal entrance doors, and that the regular council meeting schedule for December 27, 2022 be canceled in its entirety, and that a special meeting of council be scheduled in accordance with Section 240 of the Municipal Act 2001 if required. All in favor? Carried. Have to sign anything back here? No. Now, another motion to transfer of accumulated surplus funds.
That is a standard motion that needs to be passed before year end every year.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGuinness. The council hereby authorizes the transfer of any accumulated surplus identified in the 2022 audit, as well as any operating surplus identified in the 2022 operating year to the working capital reserve. All in favor? Carried. Report to council refunds for recycling depot.
So I provided a report to council in regards to moving the recycling depot. We can do it like we've always done it before, move it, leave the bins as they sit. We do have that opportunity right now with the extra funds that we did get this year in revenue. The budget this year for revenue is $25,000. We have over exceeded that by $145,000 for an unexpected project. So if we set up our recycling depot with these cement, they're like 5-foot Lego blocks. They build a retaining wall. We build it 5 feet high. The bins are 8 feet high, which makes its own fence kind of idea so that nobody can fall into the bin. It's cleaner, it's safer. It's more, it works better for us as well, so that people are throwing their recycling into the bin instead of on the ground and then us coming in to put it into the bins. And this adventure would cost nothing at all to the taxpayer, as the revenue is kind of like a surprise or a gift to the recycling program this year.
Question?
Thanks, Your Worship. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the overall vision and plan for the dump as it stands now? So
The landfill?
the landfill. Yes, thank you. So I understand what you're describing for the recycling piece, can you talk about the layout of the rest of the dump and how landfill and how we anticipate some changes to operations there over the coming?
Most of the operations that happen at the landfill would be this council's decisions. Honestly, I could take a 1 meter square piece of landfill that has been used over the weekend, and I could probably make that square go into about 6 inches of actual garbage as opposed to recycling. In our very near future, the WDO, Waste Diversion Ontario, will no longer be looking after our recycling. They give us monies towards our recycling programs. It looks like, which is a heavy conversation we also need to have, that Circular Materials of Ontario, which we call CMO, will become the service provider, and we're going to be a subcontractor to them for recycling. So the province is going to mandate that they take over our recycling program, and we're their subcontractor in order for us to be paid for any materials or any recycling, because it has been mandated that people that produce recycling commercially, Amazon, Dell, all those people that make cardboard, just like your electronic fee, etc., they're going to start paying for our recycling programs in our province. So to better position ourselves to have more of an income showing to CMO when they take over this programming, the more recycling we do, the better we are improving that. Actually, just yesterday, I was audited by CMO it took an entire day to go through all of the bookwork to see where we sit right now financially as to our recycling program. So the vision is to make the recycling area look more modern, so it doesn't look like a big heap of junk. Okay, like, so we have our metal bin, people will be throwing it in the bin instead of beside the bin, and then we're not in there pulling it back into the bin. It'll be more compacted. I don't suggest anything to council about buying any new bins or anything like that, because we're probably going to be stuck with the assets that we already do own. So over the last few years, you'll notice there was a new glass bin, a new plastic and cans bin.
We pay for those?
We rent them now, because they're not going to take any of the assets at the end of all of this. We would be stuck with the assets, but they'll take rented assets. So it's a giant discussion, and unfortunately, because of the elections and et cetera, a lot of things have been happening and changing. We're actually in meetings, probably takes a week about what's going to come down the pipe. Once everything is together, this council has to determine whether they opt in to letting them take over our recycling and letting us be the contractor, or if we opt out and we remain the same.
And will that be coming through the committee, the Public Works Committee?
Yes. But ultimately it is a decision of council.
Absolutely, but it'll be coming
Yes.
through that channel for us
Now,
to do the.
where you propose to move these containers,
So you'll notice that where we just buried everything at the very, very top, that's where everything's going to go. So where the tires are now, that will all be sitting up there, the recycling. So it doesn't move anymore.
okay, so what's the final elevation in the landfill? That's what I mean. Is that kind of the final elevation of the landfill, or
No, it
we'll have to
isn't.
move again to go up?
You could move it again, but I would think that would probably take about 10 years. It took about 10 years to go across that span. However, it's movable.
Yeah, no, I
It's
know.
Lego
It's all Lego,
cement
but
block.
yeah.
Is that, so what's the flow? Like, is that conducive to the flow or?
Well, I think we'll have to discuss that in a further meeting, because now we have to see which way.
Well, you have to
Dan's
also
gonna go.
have your bins be able to remove. So the trucks have to get
Can
in
drive
behind your
up into
bins and
them.
pull off the
Right.
bins. And so the flow will be just, you come up, you go through recycling, drop off your material and come back around. And as the future grows, it'll be come up, drop off your recycling, and you continue down the path to the other end of the
Because
landfill.
I would think in the future, we're gonna wanna put our garbage and we're gonna wanna compact it. So we're gonna need more of like a longer area where the garbage is gonna go.
So does it make sense where the recycling is right
Up in that
now?
corner, yeah, I would
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
So
And-
that makes it okay?
Sounds like a thought.
Well, it's also what we're purchasing, we can reuse elsewhere, is
Oh,
what you're saying, right?
well, you can move it. It's,
Yeah.
Yes.
they're not cemented together or anything. They're just Lego.
They lock onto each other.
I have to say there's room for improvement in that landfill site,
Mhm.
and then I could probably add big time. The recyclables, I don't go there often, but the recyclables are all mixed in a mess and all over the ground, like you said.
There has been a staff change at the landfill in the last few weeks as well.
And people are removing, the day I went there, there was somebody with a trailer removing the scrap metal. And there were children running around dodging the vehicles. I couldn't believe it. And I thought there has to be changes in there, but you cannot expect one person at the gate to monitor what's behind there. And the times that I went there, there was only one person working. Nobody up around the recyclables and no one controlling what was going on around there. And I'm not being critical of the one person that was working there, but I think that there should be more than one person at the landfill site. There should be somebody overseeing what's going on at the back. And
I
that's,
agree
I
with
don't
you.
know if that's a matter of hiring one more person or finding that in the budget, but you certainly, that the one person at the gate needs somebody to help them.
Like
Him or her.
especially like, I think like in the future myself, I think we should be using clear bags. No recycling gets thrown into the landfill at all. Honestly, 17% of our recycling material is saved out of the landfill at this point.
I mean, I think, your worship, you're right. We should have someone up by the garbage. So when they do see someone, you can say, hey, that could be recycled.
Right.
Yeah,
Especially if we have clear bags. I mean, it's more visible of what's going into the landfills.
and I don't know if that's something at the public works level we can discuss,
Yes,
but
it's a.
I would hope
larger
that you could have one
conversation.
more employee in there.
Last weekend, was there not 3 in there?
I was training a new person.
Okay, because
Yeah.
around the recycling bins, it was a lot cleaner.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would think somebody recycling, if we have to add another person for a bit to get people trained.
Yes, so there would be a lot of public education, which also those monies can be deferred right now through Waste Diversion Ontario. So we do get funded for public education for recycling.
Yeah,
Because
it
there's a
used to
lot of
be,
things.
if the recycle bin was contaminated, then the municipality paid for it. We didn't get anything. Do we get money for recycling now? No. Do we have to pay for it when they take it away? Either way, whether it's contaminated or if it's
Correct.
recyclable.
Right, so we pay $250 for the lift. So every time they take that roll-off bin, it's $250. And we do have a processing fee by tonnage. So if they have, the more processing they have, the more we pay for that. However, we do not receive any monies for any fiber, plastic.
Not anymore. Eh?
No, so we do receive money, well, we do through Waste Diversion Ontario.
By your tonnage.
Right,
So-
but it's a stewardship program that's for all of our electronics, which you'll see in the landfill. Like, there's a lot of education that has to happen with our residents. Like also, for instance, because the liquor store and the beer store already have a recycling program in place, they will not participate in any payment to any township for the recycling of their material. And neither will this Circular Materials Ontario. Sorry, there's like so many entities involved. CMO will not pay us for any, that is contamination once they take over moving forward. So any liquor store, beer bottles, all that cannot be in glass. It can't be in your tin. It can't be because they will not participate in that programming.
No.
Also, any commercial entities in our township that use the landfill for recycling, it looks like probably the municipality will either have to pay for them to recycle, or we would have to put the cost on to the commercial businesses to do their own recycling. It's a larger conversation, like a larger conversation.
Yeah. Just 2 points if I could. One, I think you're right. We have a lot of work to do on public education. I think we as council could take that quite far, working with senior staff and our brochures and all of the information that we send out. Additionally, my only other question is, in this budget, in this motion that we're passing, is there budget to actually create signs for the recycling, appropriate professional signs of like what goes where and how it's supposed to flow? Because when I show up,
Yes.
I'm not sure. Well, I feel guilty. I'm like, somebody's going to be taking a picture of this counselor dumping his recycling, and I have no idea where I'm putting it. So
I do have monies. Well, we have all the
Surplus.
right of revenue.
right. So if we
Right.
could,
So if I could quickly get that done.
if you could have that as
100%.
part of this, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
But once, and also having the recycling station like more cleanly and more sound of an area, it doesn't look like we just sat it there. That also gives us that ability to put those signs there so they're not, because right now we've been using like magnetic signs, they take off at the roll-off bin,
Mhm.
et cetera, et cetera.
Great.
Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor Clark. Whereas the recycling depot at the township landfill site needs to be relocated to accommodate solid waste. And whereas the Public Works Department would like to create a more efficient space with safety measures in place, therefore the Public Works Manager recommends to council to purchase cement blocks from Rainbow Concrete to prepare the retaining wall in the amount of $7,800 plus HST, and that the increased revenue from tipping fees be utilized for the project. Be it hereby resolved that council approves of this recommendation. All in favor? Carried.
And so just what's the time frame that we'll see the change made?
May provide a weekend.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. I guess we had faith in you this weekend.
Yeah.
We
Blocks are on
started
site, aren't
building
they?
everything.
They're on the float.
No, they had a breakdown.
Yeah.
Now, the 2015 case backward that you read about what's going on with that.
Your worship, I have a quick question. So did we get like a couple prices on that motor?
Well,
or-
actually, that motor can only come from Case.
And all the dealers are the same? Well,
Actually, Case had a hard time finding that motor, locating that one. The blowback, like I could continually put oil in it. It might last for, I don't know.
it's a main artery. It's a
Right.
main piece of equipment. We can't have it.
And plus the operator is like eating that all day long.
Yeah.
Right,
Nope.
because the exhaust comes out in his face, basically, right? And it's our main piece of equipment. Like we don't have a loader, we don't have an excavator, we don't have, like that is all we use to ditch, to load trucks, to dig, to, so it's under full load all the time. And I did check the hours, 7,700 actually hours on it. And like I did say in my report, just to give a heads up, like any piece of equipment now is at least 18-month wait.
Yeah.
So when we see something becoming renewable or it's ending its life, and we do have a tangible capital asset policy, actually, Mayor McCarthy at that time, I think, I said her podcast.
Back then it was McCarthy.
Yeah, you signed it. Which
Okay.
describes like when our retirement years are for our assets. And this one is approaching when it should be a discussion of going out to tender just to receive it within 18 months.
Just one question.
Mhm.
So you mentioned it has 7,700 hours in this motor. Can
Yeah.
you talk about what the expected life expectancy of these motors are?
It says like it could last past 7 years, but it starts become 50% of its use is finished. Like, so that you start going into your repairs and your maintenance costs and et cetera.
And is there anything that we can be doing proactively to help extend lifespans of equipment such as this?
Well, sometimes, in my opinion, like, we use the backhoe for everything when it should be other equipment being used for the job,
It's probably not the right piece of equipment for all
right?
jobs that they're doing.
Right.
So,
We're beating it.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Moved by Counselor Corbett, seconded by Counselor Clark. Whereas the 2015 case backhoe has considerable blow by, and whereas the Public Works Manager recommends to council that a new engine be installed, and whereas case parts are not able to be procured outside of J.R. Breeson, therefore the Public Works Manager recommends to council that a new engine be purchased in the amount of $25,379.47 plus HST and considered in the 2023 operating budget. Be it hereby resolved that council approves of this recommendation. All in favor? Carried. Next is the report to council resurfacing the existing dock.
You can tell I haven't had attention in a while.
little maybe.
Like I said, because we were diligent and we were very transparent. We did our tendering and it was like the hardest money ever to spend. I don't want to say that in public because it'd be like Pioneer won the tender to pave all the pathways. And then when the job was done, they were under budget for like $30,000. And it just continued like that. So fortunate for us, and it is within the criteria of the funding agreement. There's enough money to resurface the existing dock. So we did put in the new dock. And there's enough money to resurface the other dock. I think that it would be great to utilize all the funds that is given to us. And we could do it with that and still be underneath the criteria for the grant.
It's because use it or lose it.
Yes, by the certain deadlines, which is December 31st.
So it'll all be in, like the good or service will be delivered before the 31st. We could set
Yes,
up
it
a
will.
liability.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the permit, the reason why I'm asking it to be sole source is because it wasn't tendered before this council and lame duck and it's over 50,000. We had no council meetings to go through a tendering process. Now I'm at the end of the time. This company, Blue Sky Docks, they were the only bidder at the time for that other dock. When it was tendered, nobody else had bid on it.
So they did the existing.
Yes, they did. So that's why I'm asking council to look at it as a sole source item.
And just to add to Manager Carr's comment about the surface of that dock, it is becoming accident prone issue, I guess you could take, because the boards, the spacing between them is getting to a point where it could be a danger when somebody's walking to slip, like the cracks are just getting too big. So before something does happen, then it's a good idea to
How
move.
old is the existing?
Before us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the cost to the municipality is 11,
10%.
yeah, so 11 or $12,000.
Right. Which was already
Budgeted for.
budgeted for.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGuinness. Whereas Blue Sky Docks bid on the original RFQ and was the only bidder, and whereas there are funds remaining in the agreement with NOHFC and FedNor, and whereas due to lame duck period and lack of council meetings, the procurement to resurface the existing dock was sole source back to Blue Sky Docks in order to complete the project by the end of December 31st, 2022, as per the agreement for funding. Therefore, the Public Works Manager recommends to council that Blue Sky Docks resurface the existing dock at a cost of $118,000 plus HST, and that the cost be applied to the waterfront plan funding. Be it hereby resolved that council approves of this recommendation. All in favor? Carried. The next one is the CAO job posting. Moved by Councillor Corbett, seconded by Councillor Clark. Whereas the position of Chief Administrative Officer, CAO, for the Township of Bonfield is currently vacant, and whereas council deems it prudent to fill the vacancy in order to maintain a high level of community services and lead daily operations of the municipality. Therefore, be it resolved that the council for the Township of Bonfield provides direction to the Deputy Clerk to proceed with advertising the CAO position on the Township website, the Association of Municipal Clerks and Treasurers of Ontario, AMCTO website, Indeed, and any other platform deemed appropriate to ensure the posting is well advertised. And be it further resolved that the hiring process for the CAO be done as a committee of the whole, including the creation of the final job description, reporting structures, remuneration package, interviews, and hiring decision. Any question? All in favor? Carried.
I did a tweak of the job call as well. I had time on my hands, clearly. So I just took that. This is a great job call. It's got some things that are a little repetitious in here, so I didn't.
The
So
job
I'll send it to you.
descriptions were developed by the BDO, actually.
Were they?
Yes.
Yes, we had a review of succession training.
Okay.
So
So I'll
all
send you what
departments.
Okay.
I've done. It's been incorporated, or do you send us the final version anyway?
Yeah, because we're gonna have to all
Okay.
agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
The next one is the request for proposal for the municipal software. Moved by Councillor McGinnis, seconded by Councillor Featherstone. Whereas a request for proposal was sent out to replace the municipal software program, and whereas 3 submissions were received, reviewed, and evaluated by staff. Therefore, it is recommended that town site be purchased for the needs of the township at a cost of $170,050 plus HST, and that it be funded through the Modernization Reserve Fund as approved in the 2022 capital budget. Be it hereby resolved that council approves of this recommendation. Does anybody wish to comment? Jason?
I'll comment and just say that this issue has predated this previous council, that this was brought as an issue to this council. It was brought to as an issue to the previous council. Some work had been done, lots of work had been done by staff and brought to council and then sent back to staff for further consideration. And we just wanted additional information and to ensure that the RFP process and the scoring criteria were being evaluated appropriately. I am now confident that the process was sound and that the staff have followed appropriate procurement process to apply to the broader public sector procurement guidelines. So I am confident with the process, and quite frankly, I will support the recommendation of of the staff to move forward. So I just wanted to say, for council's consideration, I am confident in the process that that the staff undertook.
Okay, any other comment?
So it is town suites that you're recommending?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I will comment on it, and I can appreciate that the previous council had gone through the process to make a decision with respect to this. I have read the information, and I'm certainly not any expert when it comes to deciding on the programs, because I basically know nothing about the program that the municipality uses. Every day, it's the staff that that has to deal with the program and work with it. And I do work with the computer at work, but nothing with respect to the financials and anything that's with payroll and that sort of thing. I do not work with that. So I have to support the staff with respect to their recommendations. And having said that, I'll carry the motion.
You have to call the vote.
All in favor? I don't have a pen. There, thank you.
Need it again.
You got some more pens in the front there.
There must be another one. Okay, so now where did my paper go to appoint the Parry Sound? No, the Parry Sound District Health Board, no appointee from
No,
Bonfield.
those are for information only, so you can just read through them. And they've all the appointments to the health unit, the DSAB, Castle Home, are all other municipalities. We are not in the rotation at this time. So
Okay.
possibly the next term of council, we will have one of those appointees, but it depends on the rotation where we are at.
Well, the last time Bonfield had an appointee on DSAB, that's when I was last mayor. So I don't understand why we can't have, I know it's not our turn.
No.
But I can't understand how. Do we get reports from anybody that sits on these boards? Do we get anything from that to know?
I'm not sure if previous board appointees did that. If they did, it went to individual council members and not the staff to put on council agenda. It could be something that we ask the different members who've been appointed to provide a report to council after a meeting, just as Councillor Featherstone will do with his Conservation Authority meetings. So it could be something. I'll send an
They
email.
report back to their council?
Yes.
I so much wanted to be on the DSAB board. I thought this time it's my turn again.
Just
I-
go. Just go.
You can go to the meetings, but my issue is every day that I go to work. This morning I saw two people sleeping in front of a building right when I turned off Fisher Street to go up Main Street. Every day there's people sleeping in there in the store fronts, and that really gets to me. And I thought, I'm gonna get on DSAB and I'm gonna go and say something about this, but I didn't get the opportunity. So I certainly hope that's one of my main issues, is what we see every day going downtown.
And when you consider some of these boards were a 5-member area municipalities, so by the time our turn comes around, it's like 20 years.
Yeah.
So DSAB, I'm not sure how many of us are on that.
Well, I knew the
But-
last time I was on there, I thought it's gonna be 16 years before we get there again, and it is, because this term, it's not,
No.
it's not us neither, but I don't know.
Mhm.
Anyways. And then we have Phnom welcomes new highway safety standard. That's information
That's
only.
information.
And then we have to appoint a new firefighter.
In the past, that used to be as a council motion. However, it was recommended that the fire chief hires, basically, if you want to use that term, or fires his own crew. So therefore, it only comes under information now.
Okay, so, but I had to sign it, right?
Just the part of the, it is on your desk to be signed.
Yeah. I
Those
brought it.
forms are also going to be revised. So you saw, okay. So they will be revised, and in the future, I'm not sure if council will need to sign off on there, or the head of council. That's something that the fire chief and his clerk are looking into. But the whole form will be revised in the future, so you may not even have to sign off on those.
Okay,
Okay?
okay. And then we're down to Castle Home representative, but that's someone else too,
Yes.
right? Not a. No
So
matter
you sound
what,
so deflated.
I know.
Stop.
can't get on any of those
No.
boards. So there, no new business?
Nope.
No unfinished business?
Nope.
Not anymore.
Nope.
Confirmatory bylaw?
Thanks for taking all my stuff.
Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGinnis. Whereas council deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council from October the 11th, 2022 to December 13th, 2022 be read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2022-42, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All in favor? Carried. I want to thank everybody for coming to our meeting tonight, for the presentation, Pauline and Vince and our guests. It wasn't all that bad. But it's new again. You think that I was the mayor previously, but it's the process has changed, and some of it is new again to me. I'm sure I'll get used to it by the end of 4 years. So, moved by Councillor Clark and seconded by Councillor Featherstone that this meeting be adjourned at 8:45 p.m. All in favor?
We might lose our viewership.
And yeah, we're becoming boring.
That's it.
That's it. So you have to, all in favor?
I think she did.
She did.
Did
Oh,
she?
did.
Okay.
You wanna-
did.
I
Yeah,
did.
we
You
could've
did?
gave her
Okay.
one.
We're really in favor.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone. Have a
very
good
much.
night.
Thank you.
And everybody have a very Merry Christmas if I don't see you before, Pauline and